Hello there, and welcome to Successfully Depressed. And I'm your host, Kerry. This show is all about helping solopreneurs navigate mental and physical health in life and business. Today's guest is Eloise Hoatlin, who found fitness about 10 years ago as an essential part of her recovery from addiction and to support her own mental health. Her passion for self-improvement and helping others out has led her to become a certified drug and alcohol counselor, a certified personal trainer, and recently a small business owner of Eastside Kettlebell Collective. This gym strives to create a safe and welcoming community without the typical bro energy. Now let's get to the interview. Welcome to the show, Eloise Hoatlin.
Hi, Kerry. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you. We met each other a number of years ago. We did a boot camp workout that was on the waterfront like 7-8 years ago or something.
Probably about then. Yeah, probably maybe even 9. I'm not sure. It's been a while.
I've always liked the boot camp type workouts. It's something that I started doing probably in my mid-20s and kind of done on and off for years. Was that your first boot camp workout that you went to?
Yeah, that was really like my first foray into any sort of like exercise at all. Like I'd never done anything except for maybe like some Pilates classes or some walking, but that was like the first time I'd ever been involved in like any sort of like organized like training regimen that was like strength focused or cardio. I mean, I didn't even know what any of those words meant back then. I was just showing up to do a thing.
That surprises me. I did not know that back then. I had no idea. And that class was fun because we were kind of buddies in that class together and teamed up to do boxing. Mm-hmm. When the weather was nice, it was nice to go out in the waterfront in Portland and kind of run around and do a lot of outside activities. But it was a good group of people and it was a lot of fun. And that it seems like that kind of really got you going to then really enjoy exercise and kind of take it to the next level. So I know we stopped doing that. I think we did that class for, I don't know, for a year or so together. And then
yeah, probably.
I don't know if it stopped. I don't know what happened to it. It just kind of got canceled or something, or we just stopped doing it.
Yeah, I think the business kind of shut down. I think there were some issues
Okay.
with the model or something, and I ended up stopping. And then I just kind of went on and found some other things.
And then from that, you kind of got the fitness bug. And so
Totally.
where did you go next to exercise?
So I went from that morning boot camp to another boot camp. My son, who was in elementary school at the time, there was a place that was advertising in the neighborhood that was offering a deal to the parents at the school. So I ended up going to that place. And again, it was another one of the reasons I chose that was the early morning boot camp. I could go get my workout in before my son was awake, and I could get a workout, come back home, and then get him ready for school and whatnot, start the day. So having those 5-6 o'clock in the morning workout times is grueling, but like there was no other way I could have gotten it done. And then from there, I just started finding. Oh yeah, I still hate it.
The early.
It's so hard, but it's also like sometimes the only time you got to get it done early day, and then you can at least have it done, and then you don't have to worry about it for the rest of the day, because your day can go, your day could go any direction. You can have the best of intentions of working out at a 5 p.m. But you don't know what phone calls you're going to get. You don't know what your workday is going to look like. You don't know what's going to happen. So having it done early, you just know it's done, and you can not have to stress about it the rest of the day.
Yeah, unfortunately, COVID killed the gym that I was working out at, and I did 5:30 a.m. workouts, which was very difficult at first, but then I got used to it. But the place is 2 blocks from my house, so if I was running behind, which usually I was, I could just say, "Okay, looks like I'm sprinting there today," and to get there on time and everything. But yeah, but it is nice to get it done for the day, and then that's kind of my coffee for the day too. Kind of gets me kind of pumped up and energized and everything. So you worked out at that place for a while, and then you later on moved to Eastside Kettlebell Club. Is that what it's called?
That's the gym. Yeah, that's the gym that I own. So it's funny just kind of reflecting on, just telling you like a few years ago, not that long ago, I had never even done a fitness, and now I'm a gym owner. So it's what a wild ride that's been. What a transformation to not knowing what a burpee even was to now I have my very own gym. So yeah, I tried a bunch of different gyms all around Portland, mostly close to me. I live in Southeast Portland. Tried a bunch of different gyms, and then I found a kettlebell gym that was really close to my house that had really intense workouts. And then I went to one workout there and just fell in love. And I was like, this is the one for me. And met a really amazing
Hmm.
group of community members through the gym, and all my friends were there. And so that was the gym that I ended up getting my certification with, to work at. So like that's when I ended up. That's when I decided I want to be a personal trainer. I want to be a kettlebell trainer. I want to do group fitness. And that was the gym that really sparked it, not just to be a client, which I still am. I still love going to the workouts, but also an instructor as well.
Oh yes, that yeah, Bleeding Hearts. Yeah, that's
Bleeding Hearts, yeah.
uh, yeah. I remember I visited you there before, and then did a run with you because it's near Mount Tabor, and what a great place to live near if you want to train. A great and terrible place at the same time. Like
Good
those
for
stairs
training,
at
yeah.
Mount Tabor. I used those stairs when I was training for a Spartan race in 2019.
Well, and I'm at those
So
stairs all the time. I love those stairs.
I like to go out and do stuff, but I don't really do a lot of running anymore. It just I have an injury that came back on my foot. I like the more kind of quickness kind of things like in boot camp classes where you just kind of do it short
Hmm.
term. Mount Tabor is an awesome place to work out. Getting back to your kind of the fitness bug, it's such an important thing. And I think for me, the reason why I have had it most of my life is because my dad is a fitness nut and he used to teach weightlifting
Mm.
in the park and rec where I grew up. And then he played sports in college. And so he's obsessed with playing and watching sports. And also for him to be in his, early 70s right now and he's still running and doing
Oh, it's
different exercising.
fantastic.
Isn't it? So to me, it just seems like, oh, even if you have injuries like we all do, if you're smart about things, you should be able to do fitness for quite some time. It benefits way more than just your physical self, but your mental self as well. And so, did you
Hmm.
get a lot of, you know, mental, let's say, support or relief from exercise, like the runner's high? I
Oh
know you're
yeah.
an avid runner, so
Yeah.
was that kind of the craving of it too?
Yeah, absolutely. So when I first started fitness, so like when we first met years ago at that waterfront boot camp, what you didn't know at the time was that I had recently just left an inpatient treatment program for addiction. And so I had just gotten out of that, and so I was trying. I was recently sober, and I was trying to just work on like, and I had all this like extra time and energy. I wasn't hungover in the mornings anymore, and I was really focused on like making changing my life around. And so I started that boot camp, and just to like try some new things out. And I realized like right away, like, oh my God, this makes me feel so good. And the relief of like how I felt after I worked out, like that, like just like, feeling exhausted. So like that helped. So then you can't kind of like ruminate as much, you get tired, and you can kind of I process a lot when I'm working out too, like whatever's going on, and I process in my mind and my body. And it just connected with me like, oh my God. And there's a little bit of transference of addiction, especially like early recovery, where you might substitute one addiction for another, and that was definitely part of that was just like, I needed to have something that was going to fill that void that was left in me. And so I just went in deep. I was like, okay, this is my thing. I'm going to go in hard on this because I feel good. It's healthy, and it just was just amazing, like relief, just like the mental part of it, aspect of just being able to like escape for a little while, do the exercise, and just feel really good and proud of yourself afterwards.
So what was the turning point in you seeking help?
Well, I mean, it at that point there. I mean, that wasn't my first full disclosure. That wasn't the end of my story there. Like, relapse is very often a part of the recovery process. So I was sober for a while there, and then I returned to drinking a couple years later, and then I did another treatment program, an outpatient treatment program, and that was really the turning point for me, was sort of dipping in and out of recovery places. And then in 2017, I went to an outpatient treatment program. So I had hit another bottom, and it got to the point where my family had intervened, and they had decided that I wouldn't. I had split from my son's father at that point, so I was single parenting, trying to do everything on my own. It was, it was a struggle. I was working a lot of jobs, trying to keep my head above water, and it was just really difficult. And so it got to the point where my family, said that, like, we can't let you, have your son anymore at this point. Things have really, gotten to a point where we feel like this is what needs to be done. And so that was sort of the intervention that I needed to decide, like, okay, this is a turning point. I'm at a crossroads right now. So, and so I started an outpatient treatment program, and I was there. It was 5 days a week, I think I was there for about a little over a year and a half, all said and done. It was a long time. But start 5 days a week, and then you step down. And through that process of, going to process groups and, working on with mental health and substance abuse treatment, and physical, like all, that's an integrative health care center. And so through that process, I was really able to make the actual changes in my brain first, that I was able to then translate into, like, the rest of my life. But like I
That's
said, it
great. I
was a
mean,
long process. It didn't happen overnight.
yeah, that they never do, and it's a forever process. I didn't know that story about you, which surprised me. And I know that's one thing about, with mental health, like myself, we can be really good at acting, like how we're feeling in a certain time frame, or, hey, everything's fine, and then things are maybe bottled up inside, or just trying to put that mask on and everything. So I remember at one of the Portland beer events I was involved in, you're working for a chocolate company, I think, and
Yeah.
you actually had to leave early from the event because of how you were acting or something like that.
Oh.
My friend, yeah, and my friend told me this. Hey, I can cut all this out too if you want me to.
No.
My friend told me about it, and I was like, she was drunk at the show, and I was like, no way. I was like, no way. There's no way she was that way. And then I found out about you later on. I was like, oh my God, I didn't realize it. So that was just an experience for me to say again, wow, we just don't really know who people that we are friends with, what they truly are going through.
Yeah. That was I say I do and I don't remember that event.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
aware it happened, but that was very close to right before I entered that. That was definitely, one of the major things that contributed to me ending up in the outpatient treatment center. And along those, at that same time, I had also started at Bleeding Hearts as a client. So my first maybe year or so at Bleeding Hearts, I think I was in a relapse. I was still drinking. I was and and I hadn't told anyone there that, that I was struggling, that I had been sober before, and, so everyone, I was just hanging out with the rest of the people and kind of hiding, what was going on. But then I entered, things went south, and that's when I entered into the outpatient treatment center. But and that was very early on at Bleeding Hearts. Most people don't remember that, because now I'm about 5.5 years sober. So for this, since that, 6/14/17 is my sobriety date.
Congratulations,
So,
by the way.
yeah, thank you. But at that same time, I had really started going to Bleeding Hearts Kettlebell Club often. I had a really strong support system there. And I was going to, like, outpatient treatment in secret. Like, no, I didn't tell anyone what I was doing. Like, no one knew what I was doing, but I had to, you're there like basically all day. So I just wouldn't really talk about it at all. A couple people knew what was going on. But that's about it. But and then I, finally started talking about it. But because I was doing the things in tandem, I was doing all this working out, because I was basically only in outpatient treatment and taking care of, I don't even think I was working. My parents, I had the privilege of having my parents be able to support me at that time. And so I was just, like, working out and doing, doing treatments. That was like it. That was my whole life. And then as I was there, I had started running, and then I was doing kettlebells, and then I was finding this community, and then I was like, hey, you guys should do these running things with me, and then developing more community. And I started running Hood to Coast, my first Hood to Coast, which I've now done. I think I've been the captain of my Hood to Coast team now for a few years. I think I've done it 8 years. It's hard to know because COVID kind of messed it up. So
Sure,
my
sure.
first Hood to Coast was with my AA home group. It was the first time I did Hood to Coast, and I fell in love with that. So all of these things were happening at the same time. And then my friend who owned the gym, she was like, you spend so much time here at the gym. Why don't you just get certified and I'll pay you to be here? And so,
That's
so like
awesome.
all these things were sort of happening at the same time, but it was all connected towards like being not just working out. The working out is a huge part of it, but also like the community that evolves from working out. Like the people that you hang out with, because working out's great alone, but it also is more fun. I mean, that's why I like the group fitness, like what we were doing. That
Yep.
makes it that group aspect of it. You can kind of have fun and push each other too at the same time.
I love about group fitness is that, and I definitely, because of COVID killed the gym I was going to, that was a big bummer for me. And now I'm trying to find out a place in my neighborhood that will be a good fit at some point. But like you were talking about, you really want to find a good group of people that fits with your personality and what you want to do. So it is a community or a family. Like I have a friend who is really into CrossFit, and then he became like a CrossFit instructor. That's not his main job or anything, but he just loves CrossFit, and he just became family with them. So they do stuff together. And so I think it's just really important because you encourage people to be healthier. Then you kind of give each other crap a little bit here and there if you don't show up or something, or you show up late. And just the ambiance of, I like the vibe, the music and everything.
Yeah,
Um, and then if maybe you do a couple classes a week and then you're like, I'm really into this. And then maybe that gets you into then doing more stuff on your own. Like you, for example, getting into running. It's this positive domino effect of things one after another, where you start craving it more. And not to say it's a new addiction, but in some ways it is, but you're feeling good about it yourself and what you're
yeah,
doing versus the downfalls of things. So I can definitely
correct.
see
Yeah.
that. So you were there, you became a trainer, and I also know that you went back to school to become a counselor.
hmm
Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So one of the things that was really transformative about my experience in the outpatient treatment center is for me realizing that the other times I had tried to get sober, I had just done that, just tried to get sober and then didn't change anything else in my life. So it was going back to the same jobs, going back to the same friends, going back to the same life, and just trying to do it without drinking. And one of the things that I realized is that like that wasn't going to be good enough for me this time. Like I had to change like everything that I had that was going on around me. And I loved that treatment center. I loved my counselors. I really, had a lot of respect and high regard for, the process and everything that I learned there. And so while I was there, they introduced me to a program through Portland Community College that helps women specifically this kind of like a kickstart, a head start into going back to college. So it's a program designed for women trying to go back to college. I'd been to college, went to University of Oregon for a couple of years, right after high school, but I spent most of that time partying, and so it wasn't super successful for me. So I hadn't been to college in 20. I've been to school in like 20 years. So they send you, they give you some classes, give you like this is how you study, this is how you get over your math anxiety, here's how you write papers. So kind of just like some basic education, and then and that's like a free program that they do for women.
Oh, that's
And then
awesome.
yeah, it's and I'm trying to remember the name of that the program. So but so I started doing that, and you're with women who are also other maybe survivors of domestic violence. Maybe they had been incarcerated. Maybe they had been like me and they were struggling with addiction. Just basically trying to start your life back over again after whatever you had gone through, your life stuff. And so I started going there, and I decided I wanted to be a drug and alcohol counselor. Like I wanted to give back. I needed to find. I'd worked a lot of jobs, and they were just jobs to me, and I needed to find a career that was going to be meaningful to me. When I worked at that chocolate company, one of the things that used to irk me, I loved the chocolate company. I thought it was a woman-owned business. And people used to ask me all the time when I was working for her, "Oh, is this your chocolate? Is this your company?" And it used to irk me because then I'd have to say like, "No, this isn't mine. I work for somebody else." And then I realized that like that's something that's important to me. That's something that's gonna that's gonna fill me, is like knowing that there's something that's mine, that I'm doing for myself. And so that's what I was doing when I was doing some personal training. Is I have my own personal training business. Like that's mine. I get to make my own schedule, my own rules with that. And I wanted to become a drug and alcohol counselor, um, because I want to give back. When you have been rescued from yourself by these team of people who help you, it's like I want to do that for somebody else too. Like I couldn't have done it without everyone who had helped me along the way. And I also wanted to bring in sober fitness to it, because sober, like finding exercise and fitness through recovery was, I don't know where I would be if I hadn't found that relief, if I hadn't found those things at the same time. And that's not for everyone. That's not going to help everyone, but it will help a lot of people. Like there's a huge recovery fitness world in Portland specifically right now, and I'm sure in other places. But that's what I wanted to do. Is I wanted to go to school, and I did. I went to school. I became a drug and alcohol counselor. And then I ended up working at the same clinic that I had been in treatment in a few years earlier. So that was kind of amazing when I had to do my practicum, which is kind of like an internship. I reached out to one of my counselors there who had been there at the time, and I was like, "Hey, I don't even know if this is like a thing, but like, would it be possible if I could just do my internship there?" Because she was a woman who had helped me get back into community college and take classes there. And she was like, "Yeah, we're actually looking for like, if you can like come in and interview, and maybe like we were looking for someone like right now." And it's been 2 years since you've been a client, so there's no conflict of interest there. So I did my internship there, and then they ended up, after my internship was done, they ended up hiring me. So I worked as a drug and alcohol counselor at the same clinic that I had been a patient at. It was like, getting the keys to the asylum, it was like when they gave me the keys to the building, I was like, "Are you sure?" Like, because you guys know me. And yeah, and that was just, it was so cool to like come full circle on that, to have been through treatment with them and have some of the same people who are still employed there, now being like my peers, my coworkers. And,
I'm sure they're very
that
proud of
was,
you.
oh, absolutely. I'm actually going there tomorrow. They're having a potluck, and I'm going to be giving a talk, to I'm giving a little speech there again tomorrow. So yes, I still have a good connection, because I did end up leaving that job to open the gym. So unfortunately, that was part of it, but it was the right decision to make.
Sure. I mean, I think that's amazing about the resilience, to go through this process of trying treatment, it didn't work, and then, trying it several times, then figuring it out, adding exercise in there. So then you go ahead to get your certifications for personal training, and then you get your certification for counseling. So you're doing the damn thing. You're making it happen. You're going from one stage to the opposite. And what a great, like, I guess, case study for the place that you went to treatment for. So that's a great place for you
Yeah.
to obviously talk to, and then hopefully
Yeah.
stay connected to that community, and then help those people who want to be helped through, sober fitness.
hmm And yeah, and it just kind of shows also that it's, when it comes to like health, mental health, physical health, like the whole body health, it's not just about one thing. It's not about just, just doing the exercise, or just doing the mental health, or just, doing whatever it is. It takes so much, and I think that sometimes what feels overwhelming, and what can be hard about it, because it does mean that you're taking care of your mental health. It does mean that you're taking care of your social health, by surrounding yourself with people that care about you and that you care about. It does mean that you're eating and drinking the right things for your body, getting the nutrition. It does mean that you're getting the right physical health for you, whatever that looks like for you. So it's not all about like, if you do this one thing, that's going to fix you and that's going to make you better. That would be great if that was the one thing, and it's not the one thing for everyone, but it's like this mixture of like all the things that work for you, the alchemy of like what it is that's gonna be right. And it takes a lots of fits and starts too. It's like, what works for me doesn't work for somebody else, but trying a bunch of little things and eventually trying to find the right thing that's working for you right then. That might evolve through time as well too. You might move beyond, like, I don't see a drug and alcohol counselor anymore. I don't necessarily have to go in for mental health treatment all the time anymore, but that because that ebbs and flows with the things in your life. But those are all the things that came together to help pull me out of the place that I was in and give me the foundation to be where I am now. Yeah.
What are some good resources for people that have issues with alcohol where they can kind of make that next step so they can kind of get their life back on track and live a healthy life? I know you mentioned earlier the place that you went to. Yeah, I'd love to know about that.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many different places. There's places that are treatment centers. You can do either inpatient or outpatient. There's a lot of places in Portland specifically. There's Cascadia. This is for outpatient. Cascadia, where I went, Quest Integrative Health. There's inpatient, outpatient, like uh, DePaul, which I think is a different name now. There's Central City Concern. There's also other peer groups, or not even peer groups, but there's things like AA. There's a million chapters of AA in Portland. You could get a meeting in online, and that's NA, Narcotics Anonymous. There's so many different anonymous groups. Sometimes those groups are not for everyone. There's groups that are more meditation and Buddhist based, called Dharma Recovery, which is sort of an inclusive group too for, any kind of recovery, because sometimes it's not just substance abuse. It could be any, people have, can have other behavioral things. There's sex addiction, gambling, shopping. There's a whole there's nothing you can't really, if you put your heart to it, get addicted to, and also get help with. So those are some of the places. The Alano Club in Northwest Portland has a lot of resources for that. There's a new treatment center for people on the rainbow, so queer specific, called True Colors. That's a recovery center. So that's peer led, meaning that there's not necessarily like drug and alcohol counselors and medical staff, but it's like people who have lived experiences, and you can go in there and they'll tell you about meetings, or they'll hang out with you and just kind of like give you support. Like, oh, hey, like I went through that, here, why would we go to a meeting together? About how about we get some coffee, or when you're feeling like you're struggling, give me a phone call and we'll talk about it. So you don't have to go out and use over this, just give me a call and we'll talk about things. So there's a lot of different avenues, because sometimes going to treatment is too scary, like that's a big commitment. So you can start off with like going to a meeting or going to one of those peer support centers where, again, everyone's there has had the lived experiences. So, sometimes getting over the fears of shame and judgment can be the hardest part. And those places are great places to know that like everyone who's in there has been where you are and has no thoughts or feelings about you in regards to like what you're going through right now.
Yeah, I think I liked your approach of saying, maybe starting with something simpler like a community group or an AA meeting or something like that, because yeah, I mean, going into a treatment center, that seems very scary for someone to go through that process. And then also the other scary thing is probably financially, like how expensive
there's a lot of barriers. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I can't, some of these commercials they have for these people in Hollywood that are actors, and their rehab centers are like these mansions and stuff. Yeah. It's like, what are you like? Yeah, that's not real for like, besides a few people really, some rich people and everything. Yeah. But
Yeah. And first, I do
The
have to say, as like, if detox
yeah,
is necessary, that of course is like the first step, is like, just being sure that you're medically cleared. If you're,
yeah.
that it might be that you have to go to like you need some medical intervention first, and then they can release you into give you the options for outpatient or inpatient treatment. But sometimes there are circumstances in which you do need medical care first before you go into your treatment of choice, and those decisions, those facilities can help you with those. So that would be somewhere where you might need to go first if that's your story.
Yeah, that's good to know. What we'll do too is in the podcast notes, the show notes will have links to a lot of these places you're mentioning. So as a
Oh,
resource
great.
for people.
Cool.
And so I'll definitely talk to you about that after the show to get that information.
Great.
Let's say that someone in your family is really good at hiding their alcohol abuse. What are there
Hmm.
certain signs you can look for to understand like, there's something that's going on here? Is there some type of things that we can look into to kind of help support people that are going through this?
Yeah, people can be pretty clever when it comes to addiction and hiding it. So sometimes it may not be obvious to family members. I think one thing that can happen in certain family systems that can be kind of hard is when you love your family members or you love your friends, like you want to help them, you want to give them a lot of support, but sometimes the answer is to let them figure it out on their own. So you can't make anyone else stop drinking. You can't make anyone else stop using drugs. What you can do is you can let them realize that it's if they want to keep on using, that they certainly can, but you might not be a part of their lives anymore. So that's where you start talking about like the ways in which their life might change if they continue to use. So that's kind of like classic intervention, sort of speak, where it's like I can't give you money anymore because I feel like if I give you this money that you might be going out and buying drugs with it. And even if you're telling me it's for food, I'll give you food if that's what you need, but I'm not going to give you money anymore. Or I can't let you stay here anymore because when you stay here, you scare my children, if you're drinking. So, I love you and I support you, and I when you're not drinking, I will be around you. But until that day happens, I can't support you in this way anymore. So giving that unconditional love, but setting those really, really hard boundaries is really the best way to try. And then also going to groups for codependency, or going to groups like Al-Anon that will give you those skills to keep yourself emotionally safe, and then keep your loved ones safe as well too. Because like I said, with my story specifically, my family had to make a really hard decision by telling me that I couldn't have my son um, for until I got sober. And that was, I'm sure, extremely painful for them. It was very painful for my son and I. But did it get me to treatment? Yes. Did it get me to make the decisions that I needed to make for myself, to realize like I can't live like this anymore and I need to change my life, and no one else can make those decisions for me?
That's a really good point. I don't have any kids, but if I did and I couldn't be around them anymore because of how I was abusing alcohol, that's motivation right there. I mean,
Hmm.
that's amazing. Your parents did an amazing job with that process, which was so tough. But obviously now everyone's seeing the benefits. Your your son's getting older now. Is he in
Hmm.
high school or junior high now?
He's, yeah, eighth grade. He'll be in high school next
Okay.
year. Yeah.
Yeah, so like those are going great, and I always see the pictures. It looks like he's having fun with some fitness things with you,
Yeah.
with a group of friends and whatnot. So I'm sure your parents are really enjoying the holidays every year where you're together in a positive manner versus an intervention.
Yes, exactly. No more interventions.
Well, other thing I want to get into now is I think that was a great just kind of segue now from you. Obviously, we talked about earlier, you kind of improved your life through physical fitness and going through an intervention and then becoming a counselor. And now you've leveraged all these things to this new opportunity. So go ahead and tell me about Eastside Kettlebell Club, your new business,
Hmm.
which, by the way, congratulations, just opened this month, I
Yeah.
believe, right?
November. Yeah. So yeah, we've been
November.
almost,
Okay. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So close. It's December right now. Yeah. So I had been still working at Bleeding Hearts Kettlebell Club, and I'd still been doing drug and alcohol counseling. So I've been working two jobs, which is pretty familiar to me. In in January of 2020, I had started to try and do sober fitness on my own. I had opened up a new sober fitness class that I was trying to promote. And again, that was January 2020. So I had two classes of those before March 2020 happened. And so that was definitely put on the delayed. Then Bleeding Hearts closed in October of 2022. So I was left, like, oh, well, I guess I don't have that job anymore, which actually was bringing me more income. Social work doesn't doesn't pay a whole lot. So as much as I love that job, it honestly did not pay me enough to survive. I am a single mom. I have I pay for everything, and so like even if I had gone up to my hours at the clinical job, it was not going to be enough to support myself and my son. So I was sort of like floundering, like, well, what am I going to do to supplement my income? I'd only ever worked 2+ jobs for like the last, I don't know, five, no, probably 8 or 9 years. And so I was trying to like, because that space also is where I was doing my personal training too. So I was like, we're back to square one. And another trainer and I were like, okay, well, we're gonna do something. I don't know what yet, but let's work together. We'll figure out a way that we can like rent a space and do something. And I contacted the landlord of the same space that Bleeding Hearts had been, and I was asked him if I could just use the space temporarily for a discount, so he would at least get a little bit of income before he found a permanent tenant in that space. And he said, well, I would really like you guys to just keep on renting it. I really like, having a gym there. He already had a relationship with me from the previous gym. And he's like, I really would like you to stay there. And I said, well, I don't know if we can afford it. And he said, I don't care. So he said,
Nice.
we'll make it happen. So it was kind of like, he's like the one landlord in the universe who, has a heart of gold. So I really credit him a lot for this. And it was one of those things where everything just sort of fit into place, where it's like, we were able to connect. Felicia, my business partner, she and I were like, well, I mean, are we going to do this? So we went from like having zero, like, finding out that the gym was closing, to within a matter of like 2 or 3 weeks, like starting our own business, signing a lease, getting everything ready and buying our own gym. And so October 31st, Bleeding Hearts Kettlebell Club shut down. And I think November 6th, we signed our lease that day for the gym. And then November 6th, we had our first class at Eastside Kettlebell Collective. So it was it was like zero
That's
to
fast.
100. It was really fast. And one of my main reasons for making this decision is because ultimately it meant that I was going to have to leave my job as a drug and alcohol counselor, which I was really sad about. But one thing is I'm a physical person, right? I like to be moving. I like to do a lot of things. That's a desk job. That's, I love the client interactions. I love working with people, but like in reality, that job is 80% chart notes, which is not my vibe, is to be sitting around doing chart notes. Like I want to be like doing things. I want to be like, I'm more of a hands-on person. And I really want to do sober fitness. And that was something that were really willing to support me in at Quest, but it just wasn't there. It just wasn't happening at my speed. Like it just wasn't quite there yet. And I was like, well, if I have this opportunity to start my own business, now I'm going to have my own space in which I can like really start working on my sober fitness and do things the way that I want to do it myself. I'm already a certified drug and alcohol counselor. I'm a trainer. Now I have my own space. I'm starting a trauma-informed weightlifting certification program next month. And so what I'm really hoping to be able to do is my goal when I first started drug and alcohol counseling, I think maybe I said it, maybe I didn't, I don't remember, but was to do sober fitness. Like that's my goal, is to bring sober fitness and to bring up my experience as a drug and alcohol counselor and my experience as a personal trainer. And like, let's get sober together. Let's get strong together, like let's do this as a team. And so that's my hope with that. So yeah, I went from, having, feeling like I lost everything when Bleeding Hearts closed. It was devastating. It was truly probably one of the hardest things that's ever happened to me, especially the hardest thing that happened to me, in sobriety. And,
Sure.
and from that to turn it around into like, well, now I'm a business owner of this thing that I love doing, and hopefully be able to bring this other thing that's like hugely important in my life. Like there's nothing better to me. Like there's just really like, it just like I don't consider myself like a super like woo woo person, but there's just things that can't be ignored. And whether it's like woo woo, or whether it's just like making the next right choice, and having and just kind of like being able to make those like high risk, high opportunity decisions like I did, and having it turn out. And so far it's been truly been the right choice.
Well, I can understand why you had obviously trouble with the place shutting down. I mean, Bleeding Heart shutting down, it was community, but also it was a turning point kind of in your life too. Like when you were there, so much
Hmm.
happened, you came out of stronger from. So then to see that close, it's like, oh, is this chapter done? But then what's really exciting is that how it all came together, which was very quickly.
Yeah.
And just, it was like this culmination of everything kind of coming together at the right time. When they
Yeah.
shut down, you open, you've already trained there. So you already have, the space, you understand the business to a certain extent. You have somewhat of a built-in audience. So it made a lot of sense. And so that's why I think you have to go for it. I'm so happy that you went for it, because often people don't go
Yeah.
for things in life, and these things align with all of your, your virtues, what's really important to you. So I'm ecstatic that it all came together for you. I mean, that's great.
Yeah. And just, going back to like when I was working for the chocolate company, and even when I was working for Bleeding Hearts, as much as I love that place, I didn't own it. I was still working for
Yeah.
someone. And like now being in the position where it's like, no, I own the gym. This is my space. This is what Felicia and I are doing together. And we can make all the choices about how we want to see this space work, and how we want this community to interact with us and with each other. That's been really like the great part of it. Yeah, and having the foundation of everything I learned from Bleeding Hearts and before, and being able to turn that stays in a special time and place. Like that is uniquely the time and space that it was, and then like just a really amazing stepping stone to what we've started now with Eastside Kettlebell Collective.
Well, the other thing that's kind of interesting is you want to maybe tell me a little bit about your business. There's a lot of different clubs out there, as we know, like gyms. There's
Yeah.
private training, there's group training, there's places that are very broy, which are ridiculous, and there's the
Yeah.
big box
Yeah.
gyms and stuff. So for everyone, there's a gym that would work for them. But
Hmm.
sometimes we go to gyms and you're just like, this isn't my, you don't feel the vibe there. So
Yeah.
tell me a little bit about like your kind of niche market that you kind of created, and this kind of
Yeah.
inviting environment for people.
Yeah, I mean the space that we're trying to provide, and I think we're successful at, is making a space for people to feel really safe and included in there. So we're actively trying to not have that bro vibe. Like our colors are pink and black. So we have a big magenta. Pink, wall, and we're just trying to send the signals that like if there's a million gyms out there that are designed for your classic gym stereotype, right? Where there's a million spaces that, like, you, for example, not to call you out, but as like a cis white male, you can walk into almost any space, and it's designed by you, by people who look like you, for you, to make you feel the most comfortable possible. The whole world is designed like that. And so we want to provide a space that is inviting for people who the world is not necessarily designed for. So people who, women often don't feel super comfortable going into spaces like that because, the energy that's there. We don't want to be necessarily like hit on or observed or any of those things. We're there for, to get a workout. People who or on the rainbow spectrum again, so like we have a high queer population that comes to our gym that feels safe there. There's people who might be living in new bodies, they've transitioned, and where do they belong? Can they go into those spaces and feel comfortable, or can they come in? So we want to provide a safe, inclusive space for all bodies to come and get strong together. We're not about what you look like in a bikini. We're never going to talk to you about the food that you put in your face or anything like that. We're here to get strong, like we're here to get strong in our minds and our bodies, and everything else is just a byproduct of that. So we want to build community, we want to build strength, we want to build support, and we want to build safety for people.
Well,
And
it
we
seems
also,
like
like you mentioned before. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, it seems like with a place like Portland that it's a great fit for that, and you should have a success with our diverse city that we have here in Portland.
Yeah. And also made, because you mentioned before the barriers. There's a lot of barriers for people when it comes to fitness too. Like it could be safety, that could be a barrier. It could be comfortability. It could be, but most of the time it's financial. There's financial barriers. And it shouldn't be that only the people who have the extra money left over, or sometimes it's time. Like time can be a barrier too. Like how many of us have time during the day? We're working, like I said, I was working so many jobs before. One of my jobs just happened to be in a gym, so I was able to make space. So we have a sliding scale membership, so you don't even have to pay us anything at all. Like, I mean, if we'll take free memberships, or we do trades for services, or if people just tell us like, hey, I can afford X amount a month. I want to pay you something, but this is what I can afford. Then that's great. Whatever it is that you want to do to come into the gym, but we don't want there to be any financial barriers. There's already so many barriers. So if there's one thing that we would like to provide, it's also not a financial barrier for people too. So that's something that we're really committed to. And we're also committed to giving back to the community. So we make an effort to quarterly try and do something that's going to be of service to the community. So doing like food drives, doing donations to other spaces in our that are member driven. Like we've asked our members, like where do you want to see your money go if we're going to do a fundraiser? What are some organizations that you guys support too? So we're committed to also giving back to our community around us.
Well, that's a great mission to have that for that business, and
Mm-hmm.
and if you're trying to help out other people, hopefully, you put out good vibes, so the good vibes come back. And I feel like that definitely will with
Yeah.
you and the community that you're building. And obviously you already had a community there, and you have a lot of friends that worked out there and stuff too. So it's great that they're now at your new spot. I like the idea of the sliding scale because, maybe for some people they aren't able to afford it much, but then later on they'll pay more when they can afford it. And, when they get in a good spot,
Yeah.
and so I think that's really great as well. Is there anything that you're excited about? Obviously, there's so much going on with your club's new, but is there anything exciting coming in the new year that you want to educate people on, or just anything about your club?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, we're brand new. This is just our second month. So next year in January, we're planning on bringing on a lot of things. We're adding on new trainers all the time. Felicia and I are the owners, and we're the primary kettlebell trainers. But we don't want it to necessarily just be a kettlebell gym. We want that's the collective part of what we want to do. So we have a woman, Margot Isadora, who recently moved from New York, and she's gonna teach a strength and stability body weight class with us. We have a yoga teacher coming on soon. We have who comes in and does a hit kickboxing class. I just came from that right before here. It's super intense. So we do that. We have mobility for athletes that's starting next Tuesday. So mobility is something that's really important for people. You talked about your dad staying fit through being in his 70s. My stepdad is the same way, and part of our mission too is that this is about longevity and sustainability too. That's health. Like we're not here just to squats are a good function for a reason. You want to be able to get in and out of bed. You want to be able to get in and up and off your toilet without assistance as we age. We want to be able to do all these activities of daily living without assistance for as long as possible. So mobility is part of that. So we're bringing on new classes and new guest trainers all the time. So we want to be able to have it be a space that's utilized by all kinds of different ways of moving your body, not just kettlebells. I mean, that's my thing. It's not everybody's thing. And we're starting up the run club again. I know that you're not able to run that much anymore, but still doing that. So all
Yeah,
my fun
I
group
would like to,
team
but
activities that I know, all those team activities that like Shamrock Run, those are all coming back. Still have my Hood to Coast team, and I'm gonna my next step for myself personally is figuring out the sober fitness piece. Of once I've just had to lay the groundwork of opening up this business, from
baby steps.
from yeah, like just like let's learn how to be a business person first, without ever thinking you were ever going to have to do that within a crash course. So, and then, but that's going to be going in tandem with, I think, the trauma informed weightlifting as well. So being able to have that, approaching people from a trauma informed, um, providing perspective. So yeah, those are just some of the things that we have going on, coming up,
Not
the
enough
next
there.
year.
I
Yeah.
like the variety
Yeah.
though. I think it's going to have variety at places, and the reason that I've never really done a lot of kettlebell stuff is it was something I learned about later in life. But with ever going shoulder injury that I have, and I was doing some push-ups
Mm,
today, and my shoulder is like, "Why do you do those?" I'm like, "Well, I was trying to be
yeah.
smarter about them today." But like the Turkish get up, that takes some coordination, and I've
Yeah.
tried doing that a number of times, but it's a great workout. I mean, kettlebells are amazing. I did use some today for
Well,
some
yay.
farmers walks, though. There you go.
That's a great tool. They're a great tool for farmers walks. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So, but yeah, I like all the variety you have there and everything. Where is a good place for people to find out about you and your gym?
Yeah, so Eastside Kettlebell Collective, that's our website. So eastsidekettlebellcollective.com. We're on Facebook and Instagram, also at Eastside Kettlebell Collective on both of those. I have my personal training, so I am taking on, personal training clients. That's at Apex Eloise on Instagram. So that's also, you can get to me through Eastside Kettlebell Collective. My business partner, she also does personal training. So she does, hers is Weinman, WINEMAN coaching, Felicia Weinman. She's taking on new clients as well. And yeah, we're really wanting to build the working out is, what we're doing, right? It's the thing. But what we really are trying to do is build the community around the working out. People don't necessarily want to show up because they want to work out. They want to show up because they know that their friends are going to be there, that you can hang out with your friends while you're there too. You can complain about the workouts as much as you want. We don't care. You're paying us to be there, so we're there to make you stronger. And so you can complain about it, but you'll be happy in half an hour when it's all done. The thing that I learned about when I was at the last gym is how to be a community member. I learned how to be a friend. That was something I'd never learned before. I never learned what friendship was. I never learned what a community was until I spent time in a community, and I realized how important it is for people. And it doesn't matter what you're doing within that community. For us, it's working out. For somebody else, it might be doing something else, making food or doing whatever. For us, this is it, and that's what we're trying to do. Is the fitness is a byproduct of everything else that we're doing there.
Well, I wish much success to you. And I just want to thank you for being on the show today. And I always end the show with remember, you're not alone in life or business.